Thank you for joining us today at Miniature Wargaming Labs. Today we'll be painting this Knight Arcanum from the Dominion box set. This will be our Stormcast Eternal Magician. And what we're going to do is this model's tabletop ready, and this is going to go to the store as part of the demo pack. But to paint this model, I used as a primer Citadel Zhandri dust. And for the gold army, that's Army Painter Gold, P3s Solid Gold, and Vallejo Silver. Now, the Army Painter paints I used are Shining Silver, Necromancer Cloak, Ash Gray, Deep Blue, Ultramarine Blue, Electric Blue, Void Shield Blue, Matte Black, Kobold Skin, Lava Orange, and Alien Purple. I also used some P3 Beaten Purple. It's the same color as the Alien Purple, but covers a little bit better. You'll see why later. Then I used Citadel's Ionrach Skin, White Scar, Mournfang Brown, and Mephiston Red. And then I used 3 different types of washes or shades. I used Citadel's Drakenhof Nightshade, Nuln Oil, and Reichland Flesh Shade. Now, more paints than I normally use, but this is one of your leader models, so you should probably put some more time into it. So let's go ahead and get started. To start, I primed the model in Zhandri dust. And the reason for that is Zhandri dust readily accepts greedy gold. So this is Army Painter's greedy gold, and we're going to take a messed up brush and we're going to apply one thick coat to all the metal armor and the shiny golden bits. Now if you hit your other spots on here, don't worry about that. It's okay to be sloppy at this point. So we'll just go put this on. Now the next layer of gold I'm going to put on is P3s Solid Gold. It's the same as Games Workshop's Arc Armor, but the bottle's bigger and it lasts longer. So I'm going to get my dry brush in here and just hit areas that are gold that this brush will get into. This will leave a lot of the recesses a darker gold color, which is what I'm going for. Now that we have our 2 coats of gold on, I'm going to take some Seraphim Sepia and my beat up brush. I'll just mark quickly one liberal coat, all the areas we did in gold. Now while we wait for that wash to dry, I'm going to take some Sterling mud and I'm going to apply it with my applicator tool. And I figure let the 2 things dry at the same time, save a little time here. Now that the wash and texturing have finished, we've got a nice gold figure there, but I want to brighten it back up again. So I'm going to take my dry brush, we're going to go back to the P3 Solid Gold, and we're just going to do more of a classic dry brush, so a little bit of paint. I'm going to rub a lot of it off and just like that. And pretty much we're just going to hit the parts where the light's coming down from the top. So just trying to catch the places on the edge of the armor. Now what I want to do is I want to change the color of the texture of the base. And then for that I'm going to use Necromancer's Cloak. And I have a brush I wanted to use here. Where'd it go? Just use a regular one. Alright, I'm going to take my brush, take my Necromancer's Cloak, and for this model you can see there's the texturing I put down and the areas they portrayed as dirt on the model sculpting. So I just want all the dirt to be Necromancer's Cloak. How would I show it on the camera? Okay. Just like that. One thick coat. Now I'm ready to paint the silver bits. So I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to use Army Painter's Shining Silver. And I'm going to do, she has a little rosette device on the breastplate. I'm going to get that. And it's going to be the headband. And I want the double comment device. Now we're going to paint the blue sections, and that's going to be I'm going to use Army Painter's Deep Blue. And I'm pretty much just doing her pauldrons. And on her left one she has that little book with crown, and then the emblem of Sigmar. We're not going to touch those with the blue since we want to turn those, crap, we're going to turn those white later. Now I'm going to take some Ionrach skin, and we're going to do portions that are white. And this will just be a base coat to go over it. Kind of, we're going to really rely on white scar here. But we don't need to be neat with the white, so the main part that's going to concern me is to get this trim. Okay. Get this white trim that's supposed to go in the purple cloak. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on painting the white, the trim first, and I'm just going to cut in with the purple. But we also have the inside of the sleeves. I also want to do scrolls. And interlining pages of the book here. And I'm going to want to get a little prayer scroll here. We also have books on our shoulders. Ah, crap. A little off base with that paint. There we go. Scrubbed it off. Alright, let's just go around and make sure I've touched up everything I want white. Now I have the white on, and what I decided to do is instead of doing this at a later step, I added white to the areas I'm going to put in brighter colors. So the skin tone, the hair and the face, and like these little magic orbs right here. I wanted to bring the color up, so I put some Ionrach, basically make a new base for it. But now I'm going to take some Mournfang brown, and I'm going to do the brown pieces. And what I mean by that is we've got some belts back here, and little pouches, and those are just going to be brown. Now also I have some leather straps on her gauntlets. Now she also has some leather straps. Put her shin guards on. Now I also want to do the grip on her sword and on her magic staff. Be very careful not to blend the colors at this point. Now I'm going to take some Bugmans Glow, and I want to paint the cover of the book. So I wanted this one to be a slightly different color than the leather of the belts. Don't layer it on too thick. We want to pick out the details later on the twin tail comet on the book cover. Now I'm going to take some Mephiston Red, as there are a couple spots here I want to point out. So we're going to do the band on the book. That's going to be red. The wax seals on the spell scrolls. You'll see these little strings coming down. And we're going to do the little gem on her chest. Now it's time to break out the purple. I'm going to use some P3s beaten purple. And this is going to be for the cloth here, tabard and the sleeves. Alright. And what I'm going to do is I wanted to put the purple on after I put on the Ionrach white, because I'm going to cut in around the white instead of trying to layer the white on the purple. You can do it either way, it's just what you're most comfortable with. I'm going to need 2 coats of this, just depending on how badly other colors ran into here and how well the color purple covers them up. So you see it doesn't like covering up the gold right there. Enough coats and it should be fine. Didn't mean to get it on the white. What you need to do is just take the side of the brush. We got a lot of purple here to do. Now I'm going to take some ash gray and I'm going to paint those rocks there. Already put some in my palette. Now I'm going to take some Void Shield Blue. We're just going to do the inside of here. I'm going to pretend that there's some, don't want too much on here. So in this little ball she wears at her hip, so I want to put a straight line, make it look like there's white fluid floating at the bottom of blue aether. Now I'm going to take some Kobold skin. We're going to do the flesh tones here. Light coats around the face so as not to blot out the detail. Got a little bit on the silver there. Now I'm going to take some lava orange. I'm going to do her hair right here. Be tricky to do some parts because it tucks down behind the ear. Now I'm going to take some matte black and I will do scabbard here. And I'm going to do, you can't really see too many of them, but little joints between her armor plates show her bodysuit under there. And then get this little spot behind the knee. Now I'm going to do something a little different. So I try to do stuff to tabletop standards, but sometimes you got to push yourself. Now I'm going to take deep blue and alien purple. So the alien purple is the same color as the P3s beaten purple that I used for the cloak. Just not as thick. So what we're going to do, I'm going to take one drop of alien purple, and I'm going to take one drop of deep blue. And where's my mixing tool? Ah, here it is. Or what you can also do is take the back of your brush, just mix it together. And so what this does is the Arcanum on the picture, you can tell it's a blue-purple, but I don't have whatever color they used. So they probably used a series of washes and glazes on it. So what I'm going to do is just take this, pretty much do the raised areas. I'm going to leave the D areas the purple. And so now as you push yourself in painting, Sometimes these little experiments don't work. We'll see what happens. See, it's really watery. So that means it'll make like a little filter on the top there. And if it doesn't look like it's blending, that's alright. We'll take care of that later. If you touch the white, don't worry, as long as it's not too much. Now I'm going to start washing this. I'm going to start with some Drakenhof Nightshade. So this is a dark blue wash. And I am going to put it on parts I made purple. All blue purple. I'm going to put it on blue armor and the white that goes on it. I'm also going to get the inside of the sleeves here. Just add a tint of blue to it. Blue. I don't want to touch that prayer scroll. Let's get that the silver gem up there. And some of the gold armor. Scrub that off real quick. Do just the top of that. Go finish up with this blue-purple armor. So as not to waste the time while that's drying, let's put on some Nuln Oil. And for that, I am going to get one of my messed up sloppy brushes, wet it a little bit, and just heat that along the base here. Darken that stone down and the gravel we put in. Okay, now I'm going to shift to some Reikland Fleshade. So let's put this A little too much washing the base leaking on my hand here. Okay, I'll have to take care of that. So let's get this prayer scroll. Dampen this down. We got the little backpack here. This little book here. Let's run this grip. Alright, now I gotta let that thing dry for quite a bit. Now all the wash is dried, I'm gonna grab some Kobold skin again. And to get most of the paint off, I'm just gonna highlight the hand up here. And just highlight the taste. The face is the real part you want to pay attention to. And just highlight some of the raised portions here of the face. And then I'm going to take some elven flesh. Brand new bottle. So let's see how it works. Come on, you. Now the elven flesh I want to be very sparing with. This is just for give her a more unnatural look to her. It looks like she's been summoned back a couple times. Rushing it too much. Now, since I'm working on the face, what I'm going to do is I'm using the Void Shield Blue again. And the parts that I washed, just going to go draw basically little L's. Down and over. The way it looks like it's glowing on her hip. And then a semicircle up there. And give it a little bit of a glow, since we're working on the glow. And she's magical. Gonna make her eyes glow. That hand is a really inconvenient spot to get to the eye. There, now our eyes are glowing. Cool. Cool. Now, while we're at it, I'll just knock this out real quick so it can dry. We'll get some white scar. And what I'm going to do is come on along the top here. Then over here. And then just little slits where eyeballs would be. Come on. We're just doing little highlights here. Right here. Alright. We got some other spots we can highlight. Parts of the scroll. What else was I doing here? Ah, that's right. Probably shouldn't do the sleeves yet. I've still got to touch some blue. Okay, let me get back to that. Oh, I know what I can do with the white still. to get a gem on her chest. There we go. Now this time I'm going to go back to the deep blue. I'm not going to blend it with the alien purple. So we're going to smooth this out a little bit. There, so the tops of the rises be the solid deep blue. So you can see at this point the white is just there to remind us that there's white there. See, it's really coming around. Not perfect, but it's better than I expected to come out. I'll just keep going around the corner. Now I'm going to use some Ultramarine blue here. I've already got it in my palette. What I'm going to do is work the armor plating. And I'm just covering a large part of the plates, but pretty much trying to neglect touching little grooves there. It gets kind of tight. She's got a tiny little pauldron. While we're here, just a hint of a lighter blue. So what I do is I wipe most of the paint off and just little streaks there to tint it. Just use the side of the brush, which will slowly or quickly, depending, destroy the brush. But you can always get more brushes. More like a little glaze over it. Okay. Now I'm trying to find where the other one go. Ah, here it is. Electric blue. I want something not as dark or light as the void. What this is going to be is my plate highlight. A little bit more depth to it. Excellent. And while I'm here, I'll go ahead and grab some lava orange again. So once you do some of these little fine highlights, you can just burn right through these. We'll do, let's get the top of these little seals. There you go. And then we want to get more of that paint off. So there's slight bands of hair. And then while it's still wet, I'm going to take some of this elven flesh. There's a bit of a yellow tone to it. I'll give her blonde little streaks. But I want to wipe a lot. Got my finger in it. I'll wipe a lot of the paint off. If it's still wet, started on this, but I thought better since I hadn't done the blue yet. To use the side of the brush. Just use nice and slow. To etch this white line back in here. This will be a slow, painstaking process. Hello, I'm back. Let everything dry there. Started getting a little tacky doing those multiple layers. So I've got some Vallejo Silver, which is literally like a giant chunk block of silver there. I'm going to highlight the silver and the gold armor. So the idea is to get the areas, if we imagine light coming down, just catch a hint of color. And you can tell this really makes the gold armor pop. And of course we'll use it on the silver. And just keep going around highlighting to taste. Just make sure they're balanced on each side. We don't want to touch the glow or a little magic orb here. The tricky part will be circle it around her head. Don't want to touch anything else. Now we're almost done here. I took some ash gray once again, and this is a brush. I've cut most of the bristles off. And what I'm going to do is dip my brush, wipe most of it off, and just start roughly dry brushing the base. Too much. And we're going to call that a day on the Knight Arcanum. Spent a little bit more time than I do on most of them. That was to create that blue-purple cloak system there. But she actually came out really well. I'm happy with her. So thank you for joining us at Miniature Wargaming Labs. You have a great day.